everybody, welcome to another episode of Proficient Fans. My name is CB and with me is...
Jeez, deaf as hell Clay Haggard.
Yeah, man, I did hit an octave on that one, didn't I?
You just been like dragging ass all morning. I just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's going on with me today.
Dude sits down, opens his laptop, just looks at it, kind of looks around for a second like he's at his house, and he's like, what now? What now? And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it was...
we got through it.
It was a rough get-go. I couldn't remember how to set up anything, and...
Hey, here we are.
Good times, good times. And I guess it's the part where I ask you how your week was.
It's fine.
Yeah. Look forward to next week, though.
Honestly, dude, this week and next week, I just got a lot of shit going on.
Well, I mean, I guess this week I'm thinking of Ant-Man coming out.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm definitely pumped for that. Yeah, that'll be really good.
I know I was looking at tickets for Saturday night, and may try to sneak over there.
Well, it'll be worth it. I think it's going to be a banger, dude. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm
going to set the stage for Phase 5 and 6.
Yeah, and I'm excited for that, and it'll be a good time. I know Channing wants to go see it, so, you know.
All the reason.
My child wants, my child gets.
Yeah. I know that smell-o-vision isn't a thing yet, and I'm going to say this in the most manly, best friend way possible to everyone listening. CB smells really nice today.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, you smell real nice. You were walking by, and I was getting wafts, and I'm like, wow. This is lovely. I was like, do I smell bad?
No,
I was like, I know I don't smell bad. I mean, I'm showered, I'm clean, but I'm like, I ain't smelling like that.
I got ready like it's any other day.
Did a little graphic design last night, and CB's like, let me spritz up for this guy.
He put in effort. I am too.
So yeah, man, you smell nice.
Well,
whatever you're wearing, keep getting it.
I have this big tester box.
Oh, nice.
So I can test before I go buy.
This dude's bougie as hell. I wish I knew cologne names so I could really lay into the joke, but I couldn't.
I mean, it's a good way to, if you're trying to look for a new scent or whatever.
Yep.
And to be honest, you could go into a store, you could do the little spritz on the paper or put it on yourself. But I mean, like, you got to wear it, live with it, and see how it really feels on you before you, especially with how expensive cologne bottles are.
Yeah, dude.
$80.
That's why I don't wear
$70.
it every day. I wear it for like social going outs, usually in evenings, plans with friends. But I can't say I throw it on to like head into the office or something like that. Maybe I should.
I was gonna say, like, I'm not a cologne.
I only go in half the week.
I'm not a cologne connoisseur or anything by any means, but that's the reason why, like, when you buy those $80 bottles or whatever, then you could find something maybe a little bit less expensive, but you enjoy wearing throughout the week.
Yeah.
So then you have your special occasion scents and then your everydays. I'm excited for, knowing we're going into Super Bowl week. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely got me hype. I already know what I'm getting for Super Bowl food.
Nice.
Oh, it's going to be fucking delicious.
I'm excited for you. We got UFC, too.
Next Saturday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'll be big.
No,
too.
I'm pretty sure that's this Saturday. Is it?
I keep on saying next, like this upcoming Saturday.
Pretty sure it's this Saturday.
So,
because in my head I was like, wow. I get to watch UFC and then basically wake up, do a pod, and then have the Super Bowl. Yeah, UFC 284 is this Saturday.
And who's on that card? Do you remember?
Yeah, Volkanovski is going to be fighting. Oh gosh, Machaya. I always screw this guy's name up. Let me actually look at it. It'll help me pronounce it properly. Yeah, Islam Machayev. I'm gonna go Machayev. Damn.
I never know how to say anybody's name.
I'm showing you just so you can visually see. And be like, I was waiting for you to be like, "Oh, you're really close, dude."
Oh,
but that's really the only, in my opinion, awesome fight that card. But it's enough to get me just that one fight.
I have a hard enough time with Giannis and Tua's names. Like,
that's two. That's two. That's true.
So, you give me a guy that I know I've never heard of.
Jeez, don't go Siakam.
I can say Pascal Siakam. I can say that now. It only took 5 years.
You went home, looked in the mirror, Pascal Siakam.
So I guess and there was a lot of there was some news this week. Mm-hmm. First, but before we get to that, we got to get into last week's final games. Mm-hmm. And I think who did you pick for your looking forward to watch most?
Eagles Niners.
Yes,
couldn't have been more wrong.
That game.
Granted, quarterbacks getting hurt doesn't help.
That game. Yeah. Oh my gosh! I remember I was sitting at. I went to Wings, and not Buffalo Wild Wings, but the fuck is that name? The Wings right over here. What's it called?
You're either thinking of Wings, etc.
Wings, etc. There we go.
Okay.
And I was sitting there, I was watching it, and I see Purdy's arm get hit, and I was just like, that looks like it's smarts, but nothing different.
Yeah.
And then I look back up when I noticed that when San Francisco went onto the field, I'm like, who the fuck is Johnson?
Yeah.
That blew me away. Mm-hmm. And come to find out, this guy's been in the league for 15 years, and that was wildly amazing. So, but then he get concussed.
Yeah.
And Brock Purdy's like,
comes back in
to hand the ball off.
I can't throw, but I can hand it off.
Did you see Kittle was just like, hey, Brock,
are you ambidextrous? Yeah, are you ambidextrous?
Oh, that had to suck, man.
Yeah.
Especially I was thinking about, like, it sucks as a team, but, like, I really, really like George Kittle, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to see success from him. Even though I knew that the Eagles were going to win, I just hate to see him go out like that. I mean, I know he's playing next year, but I'm just saying, like, to get that close. Yeah. To get that close is hard in general.
Yeah.
And to get that close and then it just everything fall apart, I was just like, man, I really feel for that dude because there's nothing that George could have done.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a tight end, unless you say, hand me the ball off.
Yeah. I guess that's just the game of football. And, I think the toughest pill to swallow, because that Brock Purdy, I'm pretty sure he hurt his arm in first quarter.
Yeah.
It was very, early drives. And I think the most...
I think it was the first.
I don't remember it being the first, but I could be wrong. I don't remember. I just remember him getting hurt, and once he got hurt and the Eagles started running away, I stopped retaining every play of that game. I was just like, this is butt cheeks. It's just not what you want to see in a conference championship, is a key position get hurt like that. Not to mention that's the third quarterback in San Francisco that's hurt. But, at the end of the day, Kyle Shanahan still has a hell of a lot of talent on that team. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and they just could not overcome and pivot quick enough to come up with a new game plan or new strategy on how to get the ball in the end zone.
About the only thing I was surprised they didn't do was I thought Christian McCaffrey used to be a quarterback.
Maybe in high school.
Yeah, that's what but I mean,
right.
How deep in the well can we go?
Run a wildcat, yeah.
That's about the only thing that I almost would have thought they might have tried to make plans for just in case, because they lose quarterbacks nonstop over there. So
yeah, Josh Johnson definitely struggled. It's so funny when you were like, who the hell is that? Because I remember exactly who Josh Johnson was. And I can only think of his tenure in Tampa, because that's who he got drafted by. And I was like, I don't know who the heck else he's played for, but I was shocked he was still in the league. Like, he's just become so irrelevant.
Well, because I went and looked.
To be fair, also, he could be practice squad and a lot of that stuff.
Well, I was going to say, so for the past 15 years, he's been on different teams. Yeah. Like, in a lot of years, he was on 2 teams in 1 year. He played for, it might have been a Canadian team or something like that.
I think it was XFL.
Oh, was that what it was?
Might have been.
But I mean, like, he kind of bounced around between NFL and the.
He's been playing professional football for 15 years at least.
And he got the opportunity to play in the NFC National Championship, or Conference Championship, excuse me. So,
Yeah, it was unfortunate to see. I do think, regardless of that injury, I think one thing is rest assured that the Eagles are for real this year.
Oh, yeah,
They didn't really have any low points in the season. They had, I think, an upset loss. But, I mean, then they just kept it moving. Like, I'm just thoroughly impressed because you look at how they performed last year and then just to this year, and it's night and day difference.
I think the confidence that they had getting A.J. Brown, you definitely sit there and you're like, we have a real playmaker besides our quarterback.
Right. Along with just Jalen Hurts' natural development.
I was going to say, Jalen Hurts.
He's playing out of his mind.
Well, and I think a lot of times, like because we are an instant gratification society, and no more instant gratification than the NFL. If they're not fucking doing it their first year, you're picking them apart, saying it's time to move on. And the poor kid only played for a year and a half. They were quick to say no. We've spoken here numerous times about how complicated that the NFL systems are, and we understand that this is their job, so they got to learn it. But I mean, you can know the plays, but being able to make those reads takes practice.
Yeah,
and having to experience them. And he took a year and a half to experience it, and he's just like, all right, well, I have two fantastic weapons. I didn't mean to not give Devontae Smith his just two. But
A.J. Brown's a beast.
So it was to see the way that he's commanding that offense. The running game has stepped up itself. I know that folks were very suspect at the beginning of the year about that running back situation there, and I felt good about what they had back there. But I mean, it's neither here nor there, So.
Yeah, and they ran the ball well too. It's definitely by committee, but I mean everyone got it done. Gainwell had 14 carries, 48 yards. Miles Sanders 11 carries, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts ran it 11 times for 39 yards and a touchdown. Boston Scott ran it 6 times for 21 yards and a touchdown. I mean everybody got the job done except Gardner Minshew, 2 rushes, -2 yards. But yeah, no, they handled business. And I mean, and then you have Christian McCaffrey, which all due respect to the Eagles running backs, but they're nowhere near touching Christian McCaffrey's talent pool. And he had 15 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown. His team's lone touchdown on a fucking monster run. Side note, that was a beast run, dude.
I think what's been missed is the fact that like we always, I mean, because offensively that San Francisco team is a juggernaut, but I don't think that a lot of people I spoke to prior to that game were giving enough credit to Philadelphia's defense.
Yeah,
and I was just like, well, I mean, they went up against the best teams, and I don't want to use the word dominate, but They didn't make it so their offense's backs was against the wall,
right?
And I was like, we're completely missing that factor of it all. I mean, like, is it a dominating defense? It's really, really fucking good, and apparently Super Bowl good.
Yeah.
So
all right, CB's critical thinking skills for the win, baby.
Hey, let's get back to Prime and how this is a non-sponsored advertisement. But I think we could maybe say this is between this and the ibuprofen I took. I think this is what saved it.
Maybe.
Combination.
I don't know. Your manners went out the window. Started spitting crackers everywhere.
Because it was funny. Yeah. Little fun snafu thing. I'm looking at all monitors now, making sure everything is working.
He's trying to get back in the same place. I'm like, we can just tell him that we had to fucking fix a whole bunch of stuff, and here we are.
Anywho, we were talking about Pat Mahomes, and you put him up there in that great conversation.
Yep.
And I don't think that he's anywhere close to the man that we're going to talk about now.
No. No one is.
On Wednesday,
yep,
Tom Brady announced via video this time rather than a letter, that he was going to hang him up. And,
official retirement.
you know, I know showing up to work, guy at work was just like, "Hey, did you see Tom Brady retired?" I'm like, "No, motherfucker, I just woke up."
Yeah.
Like, I have a family that I care about and I talk to. Although I do take my time out in the morning to take a look at things, but I completely missed it at that point in time. And of course, I ran right into my office and quickly looked it up, watched the video, and then threw it in for notes this week.
Yeah.
And I get here today and I'm packing, setting up, and Clay looks at me. He's like, we're not going to read all this Tom Brady shit, are we?" I was just like, God, no. It was damn near.
I mean, it's not shit. It's his freaking stat lines and records.
Yeah. And
his records took up more than a page on Google Docs.
And I was just like, no, I didn't want to read it all, but it was a quick way to get everything over there. And, the three big ones to me that as far as headline stats that this guy is, he's a 10-time he's been to the Super Bowl 10 times, 7-time Super Bowl winner, and then 5-time, Super Bowl MVP. And there was one more, and I'm sorry, but he's a 3-time MVP. Mm-hmm. That to me are tremendous stats that you almost him, Michael. You put their trophy rooms together, kind of compare.
Yeah.
Kobe could be in there. LeBron, I don't know if he has those individual awards like that. As far as, I don't think that his really compares. Not trying to dog on him by any means, but I'm just trying to think of who people consider the greatest of all time. And it's just amazing what he's done.
Yeah.
I was... earlier this week, so that after finding that out, I was just thinking about Tom Brady's career, and I was thinking about how, just thinking about like his steps to get to the NFL, and I came to the realization that I've always known I've seen him play football. I'd seen him at a younger age. I had a friend that played for U of M, and he'd get me tickets, and I got to go into these games for free, and I want you to sit back and go back to the year 1999. They come in, University of Michigan comes into Spartan Stadium, and we're tearing them up. Mm-hmm. Now, I was, that said friend did get me tickets to the game, and I was sitting in the parents section.
For U of M.
Yeah, dripping in green and white.
Yeah.
And this is actually this is the year that I moved up there to go to school. Mm-hmm. And so, I was definitely about my school spirit. Yeah. And we're beating them, and I'm sitting next to the parents, belligerently drunk. Yeah, let's fucking go. And we're beating Michigan pretty good. Middle of the third quarter, out of respect for my buddy's mom, who asked me politely in a very stern voice, "You need to leave," I proceeded to find myself around the 50-yard lines, just kind of standing there by myself because folks started to leave the stadium because we were winning by so much.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until Wednesday that I actually saw what I believe is in Tom Brady becoming who Tom Brady is. Mm-hmm. If you remember back then, they were doing the dual quarterback, Drew Henson and Tom Brady. And Drew Henson got the start in the third quarter because what Lloyd Carr would do would be Coach Carr, excuse me. I want to respect him. I do like that guy. He would go with whoever had the hot hand to start the third quarter. Well, Drew Henson apparently had the hot hand. Ends up putting in Tom Brady in the fourth quarter. We're up by quite a bit. I don't remember the box score as far as how it broke down, but I do remember seeing Tom Brady score lead the University of Michigan Wolverines to 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Now, our Spartans did win 34-31.
Go green.
Go white. And I was I remember just sitting there I was so ecstatic. I knew I was an jackass hanging out with those people, but then when I was by myself and I'm sitting there watching a beautiful defensive stand by Coach Saban's Spartans.
Boo.
I got to we're going to say Coach Saban respectfully. Boo. When he was a Spartan.
Go home.
So, but I didn't realize that, if you look back at Tom Brady's career, even just getting in to the league and getting that opportunity to play and his sure will to win. It's not like besides Hall of Famers, like bona fide, like set in stone, Randy Moss and Gronk are the biggest targets he ever had to really throw the ball to throughout that 23-year career. And, it's just like I look back at it, I'm like, wow, I was just like, I saw this, and it kind of made me realize, this year for seeing what Kenneth Walker III did, and I was really appreciative that I really got to soak in, that I actually soaked in what he did when we went and watched. Sure. Right now, unfortunately, he didn't have a big game that particular game.
Sure,
but getting to actually see that, and it's kind of made me realize that when I go to games and watch them in person, I'll watch them through a different little eye lens because of the fact that I might see the next greatest thing in the world.
Yeah,
play. So, what? How did you find out? Just scrolling, or somebody reach out?
I was in. So I went to Grand Rapids Wednesday with all my coworkers. We had a couple client meetings in GR, and sometimes it's just nice to be there in person with your clients. And we were in line at a Big-B, and all of a sudden my phone just goes off like 3 times because you have multiple platforms that are all breaking news, and I go, "Oh, Tom Brady retired again." And I was like, think it's official this time. And then I saw the video on Twitter, so I pulled it up, and I literally held it up like that.
So everybody could see.
So everyone else in the car could see. And, realistically, only half that vehicle actually cares about sports.
Right.
But it was big news. Everyone knew it was big news because it's Tom Brady. That's the impact he's had, not just on the game of football, not just on sports, but households.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knows who that is. Just the same would be for Kobe Bryant. You know what I mean?
100%.
Icon. And yeah, man, it was a nice, short, sweet video. He said he was leaving the sappy stuff for last year when he tried to retire then. And but you could hear the sincerity in his voice. You could hear his age, if I'm being quite honest with you, dude. Yeah. Like, you could hear a lot of emotions. I'm sure a lot of things he's proud of, probably a lot of things that he doubts, some doubts that he's made. Yeah. And I think it was a quick minute of vulnerability and kind of like closure or like release. That's kind of how I took his video.
Yeah.
It, and I'm glad that he's done. Not just because he reigned hell for 20 years in my division, but in the sense that I could tell after last year, like, that's not the Tom Brady we're used to, and he still won his division. He still went to the playoffs. Like, he does what Tom Brady does, and that's find a way to win. And
he's the Green Lantern,
but but
pure will.
Yeah. But I will say that I respect the man so much. I do want him to go out on a high note. I don't want him to overplay his stay and dwindle out of the league. Go out as the GOAT, to go out on top.
He might, and that's going to Detroit Lions and being
yikes. And I think it was time, dude.
Yeah,
I think it was time.
I mentioned to you before that I had watching that video. You could just tell that he was, personally, emotionally, and physically drained of this past year.
Yeah,
and it was just like, I gotta do something else.
Yep.
And that's not to go into like his personal life, as far as his marriage or anything like that. Yeah. It was more of a, golly, I have all these extra things out here. It's just not football. It's like, and the personal was a kind of probably overflowing with how he professionally could perform.
Yeah.
Because heavy things weigh on a heavy heart, and you it's always there. It's going to be at the forefront of your mind, even though you are a consummate professional who can always, still do your job at the highest of levels.
Yeah.
It's still just got to be draining, and I could just see it was just like, wow, now I just get to think about me and what businesses. I mean, like, I think we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago about the amount of businesses that like he has. I mean, everybody knows TB12, but I mean that's just because that's his clothing brand and his diet plan and all that stuff. So I mean, and all the other little factions of businesses that he runs. Yeah, that it's just a lot. And I mean, at 45 years old. I think about it every so often. Because I'm the same age, and I'm just sitting here going, whew. I watch these guys, and I'm like, man, if I was good enough in the professional and the position I would have been like a defensive back, right? Yep. And I was just like, golly, these guys are so fast. I would have been retired for about 8 years now. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's just saying that I even made it to 37. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just like, golly, like. And for him to continue to be able to get up every day and compete with these young kids is amazing to me. And, it's going to be weird going into next year and not talking about Tom Brady leading a team and how far that team can go. One of the things that I thought about with that retirement, because, I mean, what were they, 8-8 and made the playoffs?
9-8.
9-8. Okay, 9-8. Just barely over. Yep. Made the playoffs. And I realized how trash that division is. Yeah. Everybody in that division is looking for a quarterback. Yep. Now the Buccaneers are, except for they got Kyle Trask. Yeah. Who they drafted last year. So, I mean,
3 years ago? 3 years ago.
Was it 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm. They drafted him and then signed Tom Brady.
That's
in
right.
The same year.
Okay. So they drafted him, so they got him to kind of fill in. Mm-hmm. The Saints still looking for a quarterback. Yep. The Panthers looking for a quarterback, and then the Falcons. Yeah. They're not sold on Mariota, and even though they drafted a quarterback last year, they did. I don't think that kid got to play.
Yeah, and with Panthers getting new head coach, I don't know if Sam Darnold's safe there or what that looks like.
Now, I did kind of, as far as how I see the division breaking down next year, and I know this is our way too early breakdown of the division.
What are you talking
about? I do have, I'm going to go from worst to best, okay? I have the Falcons being dead last again. Yep. When you have what they would call a generational talent of a tight end, and he didn't see the ball at all last year, you're far, far away from being ready to... Yeah. Be any rankings. Then I have the Buccaneers falling tremendously. Mm-hmm. Once again, that's the Tom Brady effect in motion right there. Now they still have Mike Evans. They still have,
Chris Godwin.
Godwin. I don't know if Fournette's.
Yeah, I don't know
necessarily back, but he's old. Mm-hmm. So. But I do have the Panthers coming in at number 2. And then and that's only because now they have Deuce Staley. Shout out to the guy. I love Deuce. Congratulations on that move. It sounds like a great family move. And then, but I do have the New Orleans Saints taking over that number 1 spot in that division. Yeah. They're the ones that are closest and ready. I mean, closest to being ready and competitive. I mean, that offensive side of the ball, if you can actually get that really clicking, I think that is going to be a real dangerous thing. So,
yep. Yeah, I mean, I have pretty close to the same thing. I have Falcons number 4 as well. I think there's so many pieces missing from that team still. And the crazy thing is they still weren't terrible last year, like in the sense of like they won a lot of games they weren't supposed to. They stayed competitive quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they're too far off. I don't think they're, the butt cheeks of the league, but yeah, definitely room to improve. I have the Panthers at 3. I think with a lot of their player changes and new coaches coming in yet again, I think Sam Darnold, DJ Moore, I think those are 2 highlights of that team right now still. Yeah. And their defense is a lot better than people give them credit for, but I don't think they're going to have what it takes. And I have Tampa Bay at 2, and I agree with you as far as Tom Brady leaving, and they're going to take a step back, but we'll see if Trask is the call or I mean, dude, there's a lot of free agent quarterbacks this offseason. There's a lot that they can trade as well, or being draft. So I actually have the Bucks too because they still have a great defense. They have young running backs to step up. You still got Mike Evans. You still got Chris Godwin. I think there's too many weapons still in Tampa Bay that even with a mediocre quarterback, if they can actually get the ball, keep the ball on the ground and run it well, because that's what they didn't do well last year, if they can develop that run game, I think they're going to be in a good position to be competitive. But I also have the Saints going number one. Michael Thomas will, hopefully be back healthy and playing a full season. We saw what Chris Olave can do. Everyone forgets about Jarvis Landry still there.
Yes.
You have Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton right now, and I agree that I think, if the opportunity arises, I think they'll make moves. But to be completely honest, Jameis Winston wasn't playing god-awful before he got hurt.
Right.
So, I do see, and that Saints defense is young and talented as they have been for the past couple years, so I don't know why they can't freaking stop anyone from scoring, but if they can just figure out those defensive woes, I think the offense will click naturally. Ironically, I think Alvin Kamara is kind of the big question mark.
Yeah,
because he had a terrible year this year.
He had a lot going on. I mean, the guy, what was the charge again?
I don't remember.
Yeah, me neither. I feel like it. But there was a good chance that he was going to be suspended this year. Yeah. But the way that the trial or the court proceedings are going to work out, there no way they're going to get that done prior to the season. Mm-hmm. Not saying that the law abides by where the NFL season ranks, but I just knew it wasn't going to happen. They're going to postpone it for the season. So I think a lot really depends on what happens in his court case on how well he plays next year. Yeah, Alvin Kamara, he was real silent, but he had some big games. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Let's take a break. We'll come back. I want to stick around to the Saints area in a kind of way.
Okay.
And then see what else we can get into. I still got to figure out how to get tickets to the draft. It says it's free for all, but I mean it's not a free for all.
Yeah.
And I got to figure out how to get in.
We'll figure it out.
I started looking already, as soon as they announced it. I'm like, how the fuck do I get in? Mm-hmm. Actually, maybe we should try to get press passes. And that's something we have to start now.
All right. As soon as we finish this pod.
I mean, that just needs
we'll make some calls.
Yeah, because I looked into it for... when I was talking about going to a game this year for hoops, I was like, it'd be dope to get press passes. I don't necessarily need to get in the locker room or anything like that, but I mean, you get pretty good seats with press passes. So
you do.
So I thought it'd be kind of dope. But apparently I'm a spitting machine today. Jeez, oh Pete. What'd I say we're going to go into?
I don't honestly remember.
Oh, we're staying with
Coach news.
Yeah, New Orleans Saints traded Sean Payton to the Denver Broncos.
That's right.
I was waiting for him to say it. And I was like, don't say it. Don't say it. Watched a few interviews with him, directly from...
I didn't see any interviews. What'd you find out?
It was... one interview I did, I really watched was off of Denver's YouTube page. And... he's excited. He looks excited. He knows he's got a lot of things to change there and all that stuff. It sounds like, he's Sean fucking Payton. He's not going to make the decision to come back and coach if he doesn't know all the variables that he needs to take care of. Sure. And I'm interested. I wondering about the Denver Broncos here they've traded this. I saw this article, and it's essentially the cost of Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. So the Denver Broncos traded 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, a 5th-round pick, and 3 starting caliber NFL players for the right to have Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. Yep. I'm sitting there like I said, I'm giving Sean Payton the credit that he deserves, but yet at the same time, I'm just like, how the fuck are you going to build when you have no draft picks?
Right.
I mean, I don't quite get it, and I was a little stunned by it all. why the Broncos would give up so much.
Right.
I mean, especially after last year, and they traded what we thought was the whole team away to get Russell,
right.
and then sign him for a stupid contract, and now you're trading away more picks that you don't have.
I'm just putting together that the Seahawks are loaded in picks, and they just went to the playoffs.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, did you get to talk to I believe Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he had a whole lot to say. He's just excited just because Sean Payton's pedigree. Like,
yeah,
he's got, he's a great coach. He's got the respect. Coached for Drew Brees for many, many years. And we saw what success that Brees had in New Orleans. So I'm sure a lot of Broncos fans are hoping for the same. And, to be fair, even after last season with the Broncos and Russell Wilson, I never for once thought that, like, oh, Russell's his career's done. He's done. Like, I'm like, he's too good to just be done, especially like that. And I do think getting Sean Payton, someone in there who's been around greatness, who's done it, been to the mountaintop and back. Russ has been there. I think that'll give Russell someone to go to who gets it. You know what I mean? Like, understands what it's going to take to get back to where they both want to go. And I think there'll be a big mutual respect there. And, that's not to say that all of a sudden, like, oh, Broncos are winning the AFC West. Like, you still got Chargers, still got the Chiefs. But I do think that I think the Broncos will bounce back, and I think they bounce back big, dude. I don't think it's like, oh, they got 2 more wins than last year. I could see them second place, getting past the Chargers, and trying to win themselves a division title.
I like Shannon Sharp. I like to hear what he has to say. So I was watching one of the things that he had to say, and it was just like he's very happy with this hire, right? I mean, he's a Denver guy. That's who drafted him, and he's sitting there. He's just like, Sean Payton's gonna go in there, like, and there's just certain things that, like, we knew about, but I don't know if we ever even spoke about. More than one parking space at the field. He had his own office. He's so, what's his name? Shannon was just like, unless you're accounting or anything office related, you don't need an office. Like, you're out there with the rest of the guys, which I always thought was kind of crazy that he'd have an office.
Yeah.
It's that doesn't build a good team chemistry.
Right.
Regardless of, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm comparing them to Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, who their office was their locker room.
Yeah.
That the entire locker room, not just their locker. It was the entire locker room, because this is how I get my work done, is be able to communicate with all these guys here. When you seclude yourself, now you're like, make yourself unapproachable.
Sure.
So I hope that Sean does come in there and say, oh, thanks for the extra office. Now I have 2 places to fucking hang out, and get Russell back to just being a football player, because maybe some of the prima donna stuff that the Denver Broncos allowed is kind of what hurt them in the big picture of things, of not being able to get Russell to be the Russell that you were speaking of. Now, I'm going to be honest, just because I hold grudges, I wouldn't mind him just being done, not being good anymore.
I wouldn't be either.
Go green, go white.
Should have never thrown that Hail Mary, Russ.
Yeah, right.
Should have never thrown the Hail Mary.
We'd be more on your side.
Wouldn't care. Yeah. Wouldn't care about you then.
So, I don't know what's really going to happen over there in Bronco country.
That's right.
I think Sean Payton's definitely going to bring a more maturity there. I mean, the coach... The guy that they hired isn't somebody that you bring in to coach a Russell Wilson. Almost said Westbrook. But, I mean, like, you need a coach with some real skin in the game as far as like longevity and all that stuff to be able to coach somebody of that magnitude.
Yeah.
I can't remember who the coach was when Peyton Manning was in Denver, but that coach also was just like, all right, Peyton, I'm defense, your offense, cool. And they lived that way. Who was their coach back then? Do you remember?
No, off the top of my head.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's just certain players that, get there. And Russell Wilson's not in that conversation of those kind of players to ever do it. I mean, Everything always came from Pete Carroll. I think I give Pete Carroll more credit for the Seahawk victories back then than I do Russell Wilson.
Okay.
I mean, and I think it's because their defense is always so badass.
Sure.
That, and Pete Carroll's a defensive guy, so I give him more credit than Russ. Russ just did his job.
Okay, that's fair.
And he had Marshawn Lynch.
Beast mode.
So, what are you looking up, the coach?
Yeah. When was Peyton there? 2018? 2017?
Something like that.
Vance Joseph.
Yeah.
Unless it was, what's funny too is I was thinking Vic Fangio because he was there 2019 to 2021. But I don't remember when Peyton retired. That was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, Peyton's been out of the league for about, when Peyton Manning won his last Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what goes on over there in Denver. I will watch it a little bit more just because they do have a good story. I'm not saying like a good story, but they do have a story out of there. And figuring out what, stop looking at Peyton Manning stuff.
Speaking of Vic Fangio, though, I'm pretty pumped that Miami finally kind of honed in that Vic Fangio's coming there. Did you follow any of that?
No.
So reports came out when I first started talking about it that Vic Fangio had agreed to terms with the Miami Dolphins. Well, proceeding over the next week, he continued to have interviews with multiple other teams. And so then it was like Dolphins community was like, what is going on? I thought we just agreed with Vic Fangio, who struggled in his head coaching tenure, but has proven time and time again his defensive schemes are second to none. He's highly respected in that realm. And so, all of a sudden he's having all these other meetings, all these other calls. And then when Sean Payton, the rumor started stirring up that he was going to Denver, then it was like, ooh, Fangio back to Denver. And I'm like, what's going on right now? I thought I had a defensive coordinator. I'm ready to move forward. And then a couple days ago, finally, news came back out that he had said that he does still intend on signing with Miami. Oh, yeah, the San Francisco defensive coordinator. That because D'Amico Ryans took the Texans head coach job. And another black head coach in the NFL. Very cool. And so then, yeah, dude. So it was just nice that we finally got that out of the way. Once again, still not, pen to paper.
Right.
But now that he's kind of come out and said himself, this is where I intend on going. Plus Adam Schefter confirmed that. And I was like, okay, Shefty.
It's a legit.
Shefty doesn't let me down.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, man, that's pretty exciting. I'm super pumped for that. I mean, we're going to make him the highest paid coordinator in the NFL.
I know that's pretty nice. I know that with the Detroit Lions, we made mention about it earlier, but Deuce Staley's now down in Carolina with the from what I stopped paying attention after day one, but to see what his actual role is going to be down there, but. It sounded like when I looked into it a little bit more, it sounded like it was a family-related thing. His mom's down there, and, it gets him closer to family. And it's just, as a fan of the Detroit Lions, and I loved seeing what he brought to the team, it really sucks to see him leave. But definitely wish him the best. We did sign a new defensive backs coach this week. We got Dre Bly coming in. Former Lion.
Dog.
Yeah, dog. Pretty excited about that. I know last year, we fired our defensive backs coach, and that's when we kind of turned things around. So hopefully we get somebody like Dre Bly in there to really coach up these young guys. and I imagine that we're going to get more young guys in that backfield after this draft. That he's going to be able to bring a lot to the table there.
Yeah.
So
Dolphins fired their offensive line coach.
I did see that,
which was nice. Michael Applebaum. Yeah, that was our 10th line coach in 9 seasons.
Damn,
isn't that crazy? 10 coaches, 9 seasons. How's the math work? Because we suck at that position. So whoever comes in better be ready to fucking improve that position.
Yeah. Well, it's some coaches and positional coaches get long leashes, some don't.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, because of the fact that you guys like to get your quarterback murdered, maybe getting a offensive line coach might be it. Don't let anybody touch Bubble Boy. So
I like to call him scrambled eggs brain.
Right? Oh. So, yeah. What else you got? You got anything?
No, you said you watched some of the Pro Bowl?
Pro Bowl, yes. I watched Thursday night, Wednesday night. What night was it? First night was Thursday night.
I think it was Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't get to see all of it, but I did see a good portion of it. I did enjoy the dodgeball.
Yeah.
That was fun. And I saw parts of the quarterback competition, but I missed a couple of the other things.
Yeah.
It was entertainment.
Yeah.
It wasn't like...
I wish people would want to get physical again. Yeah. Like in the sense, not for the game, but more so in the sense of like big men pushing sleds, doing obstacle courses. Like they won't even do that stuff now because they play on turf and someone's probably scared they're going to plant and tear something. Like I get it, but it's like I know Josh Jacobs came out and completely mocked the Pro Bowl. He basically, and he did not say this, so it's not a quote, but it was along the lines of like, what a joke.
It was just shit. It was like field day for elementary school, you know?
So, it's one of those things like, I think the only legitimate one that was interesting was still the QB accuracy. Because those guys are actually doing what their position does. So, like, that was cool. Other than that, everything else is kind of gimmicky.
Yeah, no, the dodgeball was fun just because, I'll be honest, just watching people play dodgeball is fun.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, but other than that, that water balloon catch or whatever the fuck that was, I was like over that.
I didn't like the jugs machine punt catching either.
So I was just like, the great catch thing, I guess that was like their nod to the way the dunk contest is now, all fucking extra shits that, aren't really football moves.
It was all stage type stuff.
Yeah. Amon Ron did have that. I did see on Thursday night.
The worst one.
Nah, man. He's I thought the fucking Eiffel Tower one was dumb.
That was pretty dumb, too. Honestly, I thought the one that, who was it? I want to say Terry McLaurin, but that doesn't seem right. The one where they zip-lined through the tunnel.
Oh,
that was pretty. Like, just out of all of the ones I saw, that's such a unique one because he's in motion.
Yeah,
pass has got to be perfect. Still got to catch the ball. Cool.
Yeah.
Compared to some of the guys who did a flip off into a pool or sat in a pool and just caught a ball with one hand and then caught one between his legs. Vote for me, best catch. I'm gonna vote for you for nerdiest wide receiver is what you're about to get.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I don't know how you necessarily do a best catch. You
just don't do it.
Yeah,
you quite literally just.
You literally have to make football plays for me to be like.
You do
wow.
other stuff. You just do other stuff. Do a relay race.
Yeah.
They used to have them where you do the relay race, then you had to make a diving catch onto a big pad.
Yeah, like the long jump or the high jump.
But it was like
pad.
Time, so everyone was moving and like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nope, I agree. You have the likes of Tyreek Hill, who's in dodgeball, and if you see Tyreek, you want to see him use his speed, not play dodgeball.
And he was the first one out.
Couldn't
have been more mad at my Dolphins.
The highlight of the Pro Bowl festivities for me was Derek Carr.
Yeah. That was such a boss move, dude. I heard it and instantly was like, let's go.
Essentially what they, at the end, there's like, Derek, you haven't been this on fire in Vegas ever, have you? He goes, no, I haven't, but if I was...
It's probably the reason I'm leaving.
Yep. And I was just like, oh, good for you, Derek. And he actually even said that he's not choosing his option. And which it has to be chosen by, had been decided by February 9th, or something like that. So now they're I believe the Raiders are on the hook. They're either gonna have to.
I think it's for franchise tags right now. Teams got to decide if they want to tag or pick up options for their players.
But this one was him saying,
"Yeah,
I'm not gonna pick up my option," and so now he's kind of forced their hand. Either they pay him $40 million. And now they, they have to, they're on the hook for that and have to trade away $40 million player, or they cut him, which makes him free agent. They don't get to decide on where he goes, and they get nothing from him. And I was just like, well played, Derek Carr.
Yeah,
you are a gentle bully. Mm-hmm. Like he's just like
a gentle bully.
Like I mean, like he's not like out here just being, hey, I'm not gonna pick up this option, so you're gonna have to let me go, because if you don't let me go by the 9th, or you can't trade me, and I'm sure he has a no trade clause as far as like he has to decide on where he's gonna go.
Sure.
I'm just like, this guy's, well, that contract's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I got nothing else, man. Next week we'll break down Super Bowl.
Well, I was going to say, should we make I guess we can make predictions next week, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we'll have... talk about something on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes, we will.
XFL kicks off soon.
I'm excited for that, too.
Me too.
I'm excited for that, too.
Me too. All right, well, thank you. Episode 227?
No, feels like it's 226 vibe.
226, you're right. Look at me, going too far. Well, I got nothing else. We're out. Peace.
Take care.